Hey guys, Jasmine here. It's 2 a.m. It's very 2 a.m. Painfully 2 a.m. Parkinsons causes insomnia. And then in addition to that, there's also pain insomnia, and my personal favorite, vomsomnia, as everyone with gastroparesis is painfully aware of. But what I'm really haunted by at 2 a.m. right now, I really haven't been active in video diarying my life lately, or even making the educational videos that I really enjoy doing. And that's just because life has been really hard and crazy in different ways, and I've really tried to kind of document some of the health stuff, and things just haven't been coming to me. But this is a very real and honest 2 a.m. video. So 2 weeks ago, I had my surgical J-tube put in. If you don't know what a surgical J-tube is, so I've had a GJ tube for almost a year. And a GJ tube is a jujenostomy tube, and so what that means is a feeding tube that goes through your stomach and into your small intestine. Problem with that is that it has to be every 6 months to a year, had to be replaced by endoscopic procedure, which is just really uncomfortable, requires anesthesia. It's just a mess, and it's just a mess. And if you have any problems with that, because I really needed Parkinson's medication every 4 hours, if I had any problems with the GJ tube, which has given me multiple problems, it was like, get to an ER and get medicated within 4 hours and get them to replace it, and there was like never anyone in the hospital who could replace it, and sometimes I even had to be admitted overnight just to control my muscle spasms until they could get someone to fix my GJ tube to get my PD meds back in my body. So that was a mess. So my GI doctor really, really has been a proponent. He has been incredible, and he really wanted me to have, that autonomy and that freedom from the hospital, and so we decided to go ahead with a procedure called the surgical J. And so what that is a feeding tube straight into your small intestine. It's a much harder procedure. A GJ tube is kind of like it's not easy and it hurts like hell, but it's a much easier recovery, just a much easier surgery. The surgical J is done by general surgery. And so I had it 2 weeks ago, and the hospital stay after has just been really, really emotionally hard to get over. Not even get over is a stupid word for it, work through. Because I don't remember any of it. The first thing I remember, I woke up and it was in pain, and my Parkinson's was going crazy. They had to turn my stimulator off, my DBS stimulator off during surgery. Luckily, they had a Medtronics guy come in. It was actually kind of this huge mess because no one knew. They used like an electric Cortico machine during surgery, and so apparently if they do that, they have to turn off your neurostimulator for safety reasons. But no one had connected those dots, and so they had someone like rush over from Redondo Beach just to like monitor my stimulator, which I was really thankful for, because my mom was bringing home my patient remote from home, and my general surgeon was just like, okay, you can teach me how to turn on and off your stimulator, and he was really nervous about it, because I would be nervous about it too, even though it's really simple, just pushing a button. But anyways, the Medtronics guy took care of it all, and that was exciting. And he was there in like 20 minutes. It was great. But so they had my neurostimulator off for like an hour. I was under anesthesia the whole time. They turned it back on before I woke up. But what was really scary about it afterwards is, anytime there's trauma to your body, PD flares. It's just like a rule. Everyone with PD knows this. But for me, it was just bad. And so they dosed me with Ativan. And I lose time on Ativan. Apparently, I was completely conscious but I don't remember the entire 2 days, which to me, kind of somebody who's a type A control freak, is honestly horrifying. I lost control of my throat muscles, and I choked on my own saliva. And they had to suction, and I don't remember it. I have only been told the story by my parents. Apparently there was one time my shoulder muscle just spasmed uncontrollably, and I was screaming in pain. And they gave me, like, the max dose of Dilaudid, and it wasn't enough, and I was just crying, and I don't remember this. And I mean, I guess you could look at it as a blessing that I don't remember this, but honestly, I find it really horrifying. Really horrifying. And so, as I was being told all this, the couple days after I got home, I mean, I mostly slept when I got home. As I was being told all this, and I was trying to emotionally process it, and my PD was just getting really bad when I got home, and I thought it was just the surgery, but the meds were pouring out of my J-tube. They just were not being accepted into my body. And then they were coming out my other J-tube because we hadn't removed my GJ, and basically what was happening was I was pretty much getting none of my Parkinson's medication. And so a week later, on Thursday, I woke up at around 1 a.m. And I was in a lot of pain, but something was wrong. You know when something's wrong with your body, and something was really, really wrong. And so by 3, I had had enough, and the pain medication wasn't working, PD meds weren't working. I had them take me to the ER, and they ran tests, and at the ER, they told me that they couldn't hear any bowel sounds whatsoever. Complete post-surgical ileus. And it had been a week. And that night, the doctor told me that he didn't think it was ever going to come back. And there's really no non-GI PD med in my body at this point. I mean, it's probably just a combination of everything, accumulation of not having meds, and the surgery thing. My body was so rigid. My entire body was shaking, tremoring, just rigidity was. I couldn't move. I lost control of everything. My legs were so locked. My pain was so high, and that night, I thought I was going to die. And I was admitted, obviously. And, you know, the doctor, I mean, he was such a sweet doctor. I'll never forget his kindness and compassion. But that night when he listened, and he said it had been a week, and he really thought this was it. And I was in tears because how can you not be right? My dad kept saying, this isn't the end. We fight this. And so I had to throw my science brain on. I said, tomorrow, I want PT to come. I need to get up. I need to be moving, because if I'm not up and moving, then nothing's gonna work. And I want to try IV erythromycin. Erythromycin is an old antibiotic, but it's mostly used as a prokinetic agent to make your intestines move now. It's not a very successful prokinetic agent, but it works for some people. It's a treatment for gastroparesis. And I said I want to try it. It's the only one. I can't do Reglan because Reglan interacts with PD. I said I want to try it because why not try it? You know, why not try everything? I want to try everything that I can because I'm not going down. And so we tried IV erythromycin, and the entire time on IV erythromycin, I threw up stomach acid. it was bad. It was so bad, and throwing up with the incisions from the laparoscopic jujenostomy tube. It was bad. And the rigidity of my body. The first day PT came, I could get up, and they put the gait belt on me and the walker, and I could take a couple steps with help, and I kind of got across the room, and we lay back down in bed, and we got some things under control the next day, and I wasn't on the erythromycin the next day because after 3 rounds of it was enough. My body couldn't take anymore. And so, since I was not throwing up, at least we could walk down the hall. And so they had me walk down the hall, and every step was so hard. But we kept going, and it was kind of funny, actually. We ran into my general surgeon, who said he was Jasmine. I was like, oh, hi. He goes, what are you doing back in the hospital? I thought we discharged you. And I said, yeah, your surgery kind of shut down my entire GI system. Whoops. And he was kind of like, oh my god. I was kind of like, I asked him, I was like, has this ever happened to anybody? And he said, no. But, I've never done this on somebody who's 8 years into juvenile onset Parkinson's. And I said, okay. Alright, and he said, he'd look at my chart and he'd see if there was anything he could do surgically. And so, that was good. I went back to my bed. And I was just, we were trying everything. We found a muscle relaxant that really helped. It was sort of an out-of-the-box idea. It was sort of, a muscle relaxant that they wouldn't typically use for something like this, but it really helped. It helped a lot. I mean, it was not a cure. Definitely not a cure. But at least it got me moving enough to where I could stand. I could get out of bed. And all they've been giving me was Valium. I said no to Ativan because I didn't want to, lose time again, which was still horrifying. Still trying to work that out in my head. But, so, we had all these medications going, and they were giving me pain meds because, ouch. Anybody who's had that severe rigidity with Parkinson's, that stage 4 symptoms can tell you it hurts. And so it's yeah, they were doing everything they could. And so finally one day the doctor comes in and he listens to my stomach with the stethoscope, and he can start to hear very faint bowel sounds, which means that my body is restarting again. And I'll never forget the look on his face. A couple days ago, he had told me that it was it, and he was hearing proof that it wasn't, and it was really beautiful to watch him see that. It was really powerful, and it's something that I think, honestly, and I think it probably is something he'll never forget either. I like to think that some of the crap that I've gone through, at least, maybe has some impact on other people, because I think it does have to mean something. I know, for me, all this has changed me so much. I don't remember who I was before Parkinson's. It's been too long, and I'm too young. I mean, I was 14, I kind of remember, middle school, but who really wants to remember middle school anyways? Who liked who they were when they were 13? I didn't. So I only really remember my life with Parkinson's. Of course, 4 of the 8 years that I've had Parkinson's has been, we've called it undiagnosed neuromuscular disease, but still, even those experiences, they've changed me, and they've made me different, and good and bad ways. My body's weaker. much weaker, but I like to think that my compassion's stronger. Mentally, this is hard. You can tell it's really getting to me, and that the past 2 weeks are some serious emotional crap I have to work through. As would anybody, because how can you just leave that and be okay, right? I mean, seriously, I don't remember 2 days of my life, 2 horrifying days of my life, and I was told I was gonna die, and then we came back, and so, like, it's cool, but I still have to figure out what that means in context of my emotional state, my emotional health, and I will. I know I will, because I have some really incredible support, and because I'm actively working at, and I think anytime you're actively trying, and you're actively seeking to work through things and getting the help you need, that good things will come. I really do believe that, and so I have to believe that of these past 2 weeks that something beautiful will happen in my life. Right now, if you asked me today if I thought the J-tube surgery was worth it, I would have said hell no, because today has just been an incredibly painful day. I had my post-op appointment, and they took the stitches out, which one of the stitches had ripped out, which was fun. And the other stitch was really painful, but it was also holding it down, and so I have my tube kind of like wrapped around my abdomen, binded. It's really painful. My tube really hurts, just the post-surgical stuff. Not even the PD. The PD meds are finally absorbing, and so the PD is actually really great, but I'm probably about 5 inches shorter hunched over because my abdomen hurts. So if you asked me today if I thought the J-tube procedure was worth it, I would have said no. Ask me in 6 months, when I'm changing my tubes by myself and I'm, free from the worry and the total fear that my PD meds will fail because my tube fails and I have to rush to the ER and drop everything I'm doing in 6 months, when I've gained my strength back, when I'm figuring out what's next in life. Then these 2 weeks will be something I'll look back on and maybe I'll smile, because it'll have been a good memory. Through the hardship, it will have been something that I conquered. Just another thing, it's kind of like my brain surgery. If you would ask me 2 weeks after the brain surgery how I felt about it, I would have given you a list of profanities because that stuff hurt. But asking me a year later, even 6 months later, best thing I ever did in my entire life. So that's why I'm leaving it. I just, at 2 a.m., all of these thoughts running through my head, this whole fun insomnia, even though I'm taking way too many medications to be awake right now. I don't know. I wanted to share some of these thoughts and to get them down in video, because the first time in a long time I felt like I actually had something of substance to say. Because I think these experiences, they do speak, and so I'm letting them speak. Alright, thank you guys, everyone who's watched. I really appreciate everyone who's taking the time to follow all of this, whether it's been Instagram that you followed me on, my YouTubing, or Facebook. I appreciate it. I really do. And like I said, because I think I have something to share and something to say, and hopefully I do. So, signing off at 2 a.m., gonna attempt to sleep. It's probably not gonna happen. But, thanks guys, and like I said, I hope pretty soon I'll tell you something great and wonderful about the J-tube. Yeah, for now, not so much, but alright, bye.